Dean had always been the life of the party. As a talented chef at one of the city's most popular restaurants, he earned good money and attracted plenty of friends. Every weekend meant either drinks at the local bar or road trips to nearby attractions. His phone constantly buzzed with invitations and messages. "Hey chef, we're heading to the lake this weekend. You in?" texted Mark, one of his regular companions. "Another successful night. Let's celebrate," Sarah would suggest after a busy dinner service. After 5 years of working for others, Dean had saved a considerable amount of money. His apartment was filled with expensive kitchen gadgets, and his closet contained designer clothes. Life was good, and Dean felt on top of the world. One evening, while having drinks with his friends, Dean made an announcement. "I'm going to open my own restaurant," he declared proudly. "I've found the perfect location downtown." Everyone cheered and raised their glasses. "To Dean's new restaurant," they toasted. "We'll be your first customers. And we expect VIP treatment," joked Chris, patting Dean on the back. Dean's restaurant, Fresh Flavors, opened 6 months later. The grand opening was spectacular, with all his friends attending. They praised his vision and the creative menu. Dean felt confident that success was guaranteed. However, running a restaurant proved much harder than cooking in one. Food costs were higher than expected. Staff turnover was constant. The location, while perfect on paper, didn't attract enough regular customers. Dean's savings disappeared quickly as he struggled to keep the business afloat. By the 8th month, Dean was in serious financial trouble. He had to take out a bank loan just to pay his employees. His own salary became non-existent. The expensive apartment was exchanged for a small studio. The designer clothes remained unworn in boxes. Dean's social life changed dramatically too. His phone, once constantly buzzing, now remained silent for days. When he texted his friends to meet up, excuses were plentiful. "Sorry, really busy this week," came the typical response. "Can't make it tonight, maybe next time," was another common reply. When Dean really needed help, someone to assist with the restaurant for a few hours or just a friendly face to talk to, nobody was available. The people who had enthusiastically raised their glasses to his success were nowhere to be found when failure loomed. One particularly difficult evening, after closing the nearly empty restaurant, Dean sat alone at one of the tables, head in his hands. The bank had called earlier that day, inquiring about the next loan payment. He had no idea how he would make it. The door chimed, and Dean looked up, expecting to see his last employee leaving. Instead, it was Michael, a quiet friend who had always been in the background of Dean's social circle. They had met years ago at culinary school, but had never been especially close. "Thought you might want some company," Michael said, placing 2 coffees on the table. "Looks like you had a rough day." Dean managed a weak smile. "Try a rough year." Michael nodded. "I know. That's why I'm here." Over the next few hours, Dean poured out his frustrations, the financial troubles, the disappearing friends, the crushing sense of failure. Michael listened without judgment. "You know," Michael finally said, "I've been saving some money for a rainy day. It's not a huge amount, but it might help you get through this rough patch." Dean looked up in surprise. "I can't take your money. We're not even that close." "That's where you're wrong," Michael replied. "We may not go drinking together every weekend, but I respect you. I always have. And friends help each other when things get tough." The next day, Michael returned with more than just money. He brought ideas, connections to local suppliers who offered better prices, and even a friend who specialized in restaurant marketing. For the next several months, Michael showed up consistently. Sometimes he helped wait tables when an employee called in sick. Other times he just provided moral support. His steady presence and practical help gradually turned things around for Fresh Flavors. 1 year later, the restaurant finally began to show a profit. The dining room was regularly filled with customers who returned for Dean's creative dishes. As they celebrated this milestone with a quiet dinner after closing time, Dean raised his glass to Michael. "You know, when everything fell apart, I thought I knew who my real friends were. Nobody," Dean said with a slight smile. "I was wrong. It turns out I had one true friend when it mattered most." Michael shrugged. That's what friendship is. Not just for the good times. I've learned that now, Dean nodded. It's in hard times that you discover true friendship. 单字 The life and soul of the party. 社交活动的灵魂人物中心人物 Idiom. Someone who is energetic and funny and at the center of activity during social occasions. On top of the world. 极度幸福 Idiom. Extremely happy. Toast. 喂干杯 Verb. To hold up your glass and then drink as an expression of good wishes or respect. On paper. 在书面上在理论上 Idiom. Judging something by how it has been planned rather than how it really works in practice. Chime. 灵或钟敲鸣响 Verb. Of bells. To make a clear ringing sound. Save money for a rainy day. 有备无患未雨绸缪 Idiom. To save money for a time when it might be needed unexpectedly. Studio. 单房公寓通常一个房间兼做睡房和起居室带有厕所有的有单独的厨房 Noun. A small apartment designed to be lived in by one or two people, usually with one large room for sleeping and living in, a bathroom and sometimes a separate kitchen.